In this video, we're going to be talking about 7 steps you can take today to declutter your house and get ready to downsize quickly. Coming up next. Hi everybody, my name is Dee Burks and this is Retirement Rescue, where we talk about how to make money, save money, and live well in retirement. If you like these videos, please hit subscribe and you'll get the latest video update every time it's released. Now, not too long ago, I released a video about how to downsize and get ready to live your best life in a retirement community. Well, one of the questions that I got repeatedly after that video was, yeah, but I'd like to get started downsizing. How do I really do that effectively? So we're going to talk about that. It's no question, we all accumulate a lot of stuff over our lifetime, and it doesn't seem to matter how much we intend to live an uncluttered life, clutter happens. We're going to go over several quick and easy ways where you can start getting rid of that clutter, downsizing, moving all those things that you've had and carried around and stored, and it's just ridiculous. Now, it's interesting that a lot of the principles that I'm going to be talking to you about are probably very different from what you've heard elsewhere, and this is why. I talk a lot about finance, and in the financial world, there is an absolute truth that if you start attacking your debt and get rid of small debts earlier, no matter the interest rate, and see yourself making progress, you tend to keep going. Now, that is completely counterintuitive because logic says get rid of your high interest debts first. Well, guess what? That's not how humans work. We need to see progress. It doesn't matter if it's in the finance world, if it's in the weight loss world. If we don't see some quick progress, we stop. Now, how many times have you gone and you decided, hey, I'm going to get rid of this clutter? And maybe you cleaned out a closet, and that's as far as it went. Well, that kind of shows you that there is a psychological issue at play here. It's not that we don't want to live clutter-free. We do. But it's just we don't see any progress. If you clean out a closet and shut the door and you don't open that closet again for a while, it's like you haven't made any progress. And so you don't keep going. What we're going to be talking about today is doing things a little differently. We're going to start in the areas of your home that you live the most. One of the first things you can do is clean out your fridge. How many times, especially during our little pandemic, did you open your fridge every single day? Seeing a clean fridge, seeing one area where you have made progress encourages you to want to make more progress. Now, once you've cleared out that one area, let's talk about some practical steps you can take. Number 1 is start with the big stuff. If you know you're going to be downsizing soon, maybe moving, maybe selling your large family home and moving into a condo or into a senior living community, or just downsizing and living maybe with a sibling or with family, one of the best things you can start with is the big stuff. Get the big stuff out of the way. If you're going to have extra bedroom suites, get rid of them. You can sell them. You can donate them. Either way is a financial plus for you. If you sell those items, obviously there's immediate cash. And if you donate them, that can be a tax advantage. But start with those big things. Get rid of those big things. See yourself making progress. It is human nature to want to start with the small stuff, something that's easy. But don't do that, because then you won't keep going. You'll clear out that closet and think, oh, what did I do now? Look at this mess. And you don't want to keep going. So get rid of some of those big items. The next step is junk and trash. We all have junk and trash that's sitting around our house. We just haven't taken the time to either throw away, take to the dump, take to the donation center. It's junk and trash. It's stuff you don't need. You've intended to get rid of it, but you've just set it aside. Go ahead and get rid of it now. Get some trash bags. Go around your house and see all the things you can throw away. And that includes all those boxes that you intend to use because they're good boxes, but you haven't used them. Get rid of them. Throw them away. There will always be more boxes. Same is true with bags. We tend to say boxes and bags and things to put things in, and then we don't put anything in them. They just sit in the closet. They sit on the shelf. Now, what constitutes junk and trash? Well, that changes over time because something you thought you might use at one point can now be junk or trash. Let me give you some examples. Do you have a drawer or box that is full of cords to things you don't even own anymore? Do you have instruction manuals from something you owned in 1984? It's got to go. It's time. It's way past time. You just haven't taken the time to get rid of it. Now's a good time. Do you have that extra printer sitting there next to your new printer? You just haven't taken the time to get rid of the old one. Guilty. I do. So take the time now and get rid of it. Do you have that Princess phone from 1994 that's in a box somewhere, or your last landline? When's the last time you had a landline? A lot of us haven't had a landline in years. Go ahead and get rid of it. Now's a good time. Now, one of the rules that I tell people to use is if you haven't used it in 2 years, and I use 2 years, then you don't need it. It's time to get rid of it. It's time to let it go. Now, why 2 years? A lot of people that do decluttering will say 1 year. But really, that's not always practical. I mean, let me give you an example. I make tamales at Christmas time most of the time, but I don't use my equipment every single year. This last year, we went and made tamales at my son's house. I'm not giving up my tamale steamer. Sorry. Not happening because I know I will use it. So give it 2 years. And if you haven't used something in 2 years, go ahead and get rid of it. Donate it, sell it, or it's junk. And it's great to put 3 little tubs in your hallway, in your spare room, that you can just fill up. You know, is this junk? Is this stuff to give away or donate? Is this something to sell? And fill those tubs up. And also, there are a lot of things in your kitchen you don't use. Things like muffin tins. I don't use muffin tins anymore. They now have the little cups that stand up by themselves. And I hate washing a muffin tin. Now's the time to get rid of them. They take up a lot of space. Now's the time. Same is true of your bundt pan. When's the last time you used your bundt pan? Let it go. Just get rid of all that stuff that you really don't use. So think to yourself, when was the last time I used this? If it's been more than 2 years, it needs to go. Now, this also includes things like Christmas decorations. How many tubs do you have sitting somewhere that are full of old Christmas lights, old decorations, old things that you either haven't looked at or used in at least 2 years? Now, one of the interesting things with Christmas lights, and I talked about this in the video where I talked about ways you could save money, is the lights have all converted now to LED, or at least the vast majority of them have. LED is very energy efficient, they last a very long time, and they're getting cheaper and cheaper every day. You can go to Hobby Lobby or Walmart or wherever these days and get LED lights that are new, that are very energy efficient LEDs, and replace those old Christmas lights. If you haven't used it in at least 2 years, go ahead and let it go. The odds are you're not going to. Now let's talk a little bit about things you definitely want to keep. One of the things that I have learned from, number one, storing way too much stuff, and number two, moving multiple times in the last 4 years, has been how you choose to store things. When I used boxes, I was forever digging through the boxes to find something. The boxes, I had one incident where the boxes ended up getting wet in the storage facility they were in. It ruined a lot of stuff. I've also had an incident where they were stored in the garage and mice got into the boxes as well as bugs. Not optimal. Absolutely not. So these days, I choose to purchase clear plastic tubs. Clear, the large clear plastic tubs. And that's what I store items in that I am going to store. I store way less because let me tell you what, nothing makes you downsize like moving. And I don't want to move all that stuff multiple times. So I store way less, but what I do store is in clear tubs. I can see through it. I can see exactly what's in it. I don't dig through things. I don't have to worry about mice or bugs getting into those tubs. I also don't have to worry about them getting wet at some point. So that's a great way to do it. And yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but when you look at, maybe losing some things, especially family heirlooms and things you really treasure, I really advocate for using those clear plastic tubs. And it forces you to get everything out of those old boxes that you haven't even looked at in years and decide, do you really want to keep that stuff? And if you don't, go ahead and put it in one of your tubs to either get rid of, sell, or give away. Now let's talk about those sentimental items. We all have sentimental items. But think about those sentimental items. What is your plan for them? If this is something that you think, well, I'll eventually give that to my children, do it now. My kids are in their 30s. There's no reason for them not to have all their baby keepsakes. I can give that to them now. There is no reason for people not to have your family heirlooms, the paintings, the dishes. Oh my goodness. Especially if you don't have the large family dinners at your house anymore and you're actually going to their house now. Either get rid of those dishes or give them to a family member who will use them. Now's the time. Don't wait until you're dead. That doesn't help anyone. And by that time, those kids will probably be in their 50s or 60s. They won't need it either. Go ahead and give those sentimental items to people. Explain to them the history where they can appreciate it. And then go ahead and give those to people that you would give them to eventually anyway. There's no reason for you to be the museum of family. Now let's talk about photos. One of the pieces of advice that I've seen from all the minimalist people that are all about decluttering is transfer all your photos to digital. I get what they're saying, I really do. And there's nothing wrong with transferring to digital. It has a lot of advantages. But for those of us who have gone through multiple incarnation of electronic devices, you know that those are not forever. And people seem to think, especially younger people, well, just put it on a zip drive, put it on an external drive, it'll be fine. No. What happened to all those VHS tapes that had all your kids' pictures and movies on them? Yeah. But there are some really great options if you don't want to hang a bunch of pictures on your wall. If you're one of those people like I was, when I moved, I had all these pictures of my kids and, when they were in school and family pictures and this, that, and the other in frames, and I just had boxes of those. And that's kind of ridiculous. You can take them out of the frames, you can put them in photo albums and keep them on a shelf and still have them. One of the things that I have really enjoyed, and actually my daughter-in-law did this, is people can take photos, whether it be things you posted on Facebook, things off your phone, and they can make little books out of them. She sent a book of my grandson's first year. It had all these pictures. It was just wonderful. And those are great because they sit on a shelf. They don't take up much space. They're fun to look at. And it's not digital, so you know it'll be around. And here again, photos, especially physical photos, are things you can gift to other family members. It's time for them to have those pictures of themselves when they were children, to show their own children. It doesn't all need to be at Grandma and Grandpa's house. You can have those and share those, and they can be enjoyed by the entire family. Now, once you start the decluttering process, and you start with the things that you see all the time, and you get your house relatively decluttered, the trick at that point is to maintain it. There's a really great system that says basically if you bring something in, you take something out. In other words, you actively work on not cluttering your house. There are a lot of people who love to shop. They love little trinkets, they love little seasonal things, and that's how they gather a lot of clutter. You have to train yourself to get out of that habit. It's truly just a habit. Nothing wrong with getting something new. Just get rid of the old. Don't have both. Most people who take the steps to really declutter and do a great job of it always say, gosh, I wish I'd done this sooner. So don't wait. Take the steps now to declutter, sell the things that you no longer need, put that money into your retirement, and live a fabulous, peaceful life. See you next time.